All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Get to the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
Podcast.
and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hi, and welcome to today's event. Welcome to Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. And today's sports special is Diego D'Souza.
Nick Gambino.
Neil Carson.
What do we have here, Nick?
He aimed for the corner and he missed.
What the
Just a bit outside. Major League.
What?
I just quoted Major League.
Actually, that was good.
That was not
good.
bad, right?
That was actually good, yeah. I was kind of thrown off a little bit for it, but then I was like, I got
that's
it.
the announcer in Major League.
I got it.
He aimed for the corner and missed. Just a bit outside.
I got nothing.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm just quoting sports
I,
movies.
I always liked Rocky, the last line in the first film where she's like, I love you, Rocky. And he's like, I was like, what is that?
It was my wife. Yeah.
And then it ends.
They weren't married yet.
So today we have our top films, top sports films that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Top sounds very official. That's the
Favorite.
favorite.
Our favorite.
Like, kind of favorites.
Okay, our favorite.
Favorite-ish.
Well, one of these films on my list is my favorite.
Okay.
And the other two are films I really, 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 really,
Yeah,
really
so
like.
for time's sake, we always just keep it to 3 each, but sometimes that edges out a couple other ones that we want to
Yeah,
put
there's
on the
so
list.
many really great films, and it's hard to make
The
a list
funny
of
thing
just
is,
three.
you can not be a big sports guy and still love sports films. Neil, for instance, you're not really a big sports guy.
I'm not.
You don't like watching games particularly.
No.
You're like, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't care. But sports films, there's something about when they're done right.
Yeah.
Like they just
As long as they don't
They
focus
move you.
on
Yeah,
the
they're
sport.
just-
well, even
And
if no, even when they focus on the sports. No, when they focus on the sport, it's like it's like this thing where it's like translatable into other activities or other parts of your life where it's like it's an inspiration for do the thing that you love, do the thing you're passionate
when you watch
about.
sports, you're really looking at people, do this physical performance where you don't get that human connection. Like I wish that they had the NFL. I could hear everything that the players were saying to each other.
I was going to say something, but
know?
I wait to the end because it's kind of sad. There was a sports film that I watched. I'm just going to say it. There's a sports film that I watched a long time ago. I forgot the name of it, but they had this one scene, and I went to watch it when it came out.
Yeah.
And they had this one scene where the players actually laid down on a street on the yellow
The
lane.
ref.
Like
Yeah, that's the program.
the program.
Yeah. No, not the reference.
And while
the program.
while
Yeah.
cars were going back and forth.
Yeah,
it was
I was
crazy.
all this controversy
They
over that
actually,
movie,
well,
yeah.
they took that scene out of the
I know.
film.
It was in the
because
trailer even.
Yeah, it was in the and they took that scene out of the film because of the controversy. Because
Yep.
people were copycatting it,
No, people were getting killed.
and they were
They
that's what I'm saying.
They would lay down at nighttime. They would lay down in the middle of the road, like on the little line,
Yeah.
and cars would be whizzing by, and there would just be a line of kids, and kids got killed.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy.
I remember that was in the trailer. I even think it was in the version I saw in the theaters when it came out. It was crazy.
Yeah, I went to watch that when it first.
That was
came
a good
out.
movie.
Not in New York though.
Yeah, yeah. I was in the theaters in Times Square. No, but it was a good one. But that's actually hasn't even made our list. There's a lot of good
hasn't,
sports
no.
films out there. That's not it. Do you want to start with you, Diego? You wanna
I can
your
start
top
with
three?
me, yeah.
I know yours are special. They're focused on one sport because it's your
It
favorite
really
sport.
is. I don't know what happened. I'm looking at all of them. There's a lot of films, a lot of sports films that I like, but I stuck to boxing for some reason. I love boxing, so actually
There are a lot of great boxing
There's a lot of
movies.
great boxing movies, and one which we just recently talked about was Rocky.
Yeah.
I just love that film. That is actually, like you said, this is the
first one, right?
my favorite film. That the very first Rocky film.
It's one of these movies where I had never seen that movie as a kid, and then I watched it later as an adult. And like when it got to that scene between Rocky and Mickey, when Mickey comes, and
Yeah.
Oh, in
you
the
know,
apartment.
Apollo Creed wants Rocky to fight him, and they're in the apartment, and Rocky starts to have this kind of like meltdown. He he goes into the
Because Mickey wants to manage or train
Well,
him.
Mickey's
Yeah.
like
never
he
want-
told him to get the hell out of the gym, and he's like a
Gave
bum
away his
and all
locker.
this shit. Yeah, gave away his locker, and then once Mickey saw that he had an opportunity to fight the great, the world champ, he was like. Then he came back, and it was almost like begging Rocky to like let him train.
He was.
him,
No,
and
he
he's
was.
all-
buttering him up, buttering him
and
up
he's
a
like,
little
I
bit.
was in my prime, and he's like, when were you then? 20 years ago, and all
Yeah.
that shit.
He
And it's
was.
like it's a powerful scene.
And
I was
that-
like, holy shit.
There's
this
so
is-
many
this is
elements
crazy.
to that film, even small little elements, small little details. Like he used to go drive to what's the priest's house. To
Oh
get
yeah,
a
the
blessing.
father. Yeah, before,
You know,
before the
it's-
fight.
There's before the fight.
You throw me down a blessing.
Can you say? I was wondering if you could throw
It's
me
starting
down
to
a
feel
blessing.
handy by the
You know,
movie.
and then you got like
do use it
elements
more than
like
once.
when he's talking to kids and he's walking down the street and he's trying to motivate. It's just incredible. That movie is so powerful in so many ways. There's
when
so
he
many
talks to that little
Creepo.
chick,
The
and
girl,
she's
calls him a
like,
creepo.
Yeah.
He's like, go
Go
screw
screw,
Hey,
creepo.
Rocky, go screw yourself.
creepo.
Yeah,
I think she says go screw creepo.
She comes
or
back
something.
and Rocky
She's
Balboa.
one
She
of the
comes
main
back.
people
Yeah.
in the sixth movie.
I like that. I
and
thought
she
that
talks
was
about how
cool.
what he did motivated her.
Yeah, she was like
Yeah.
that. You may not remember that, but that was like that helped change my.
She didn't remember saying that to him though. She's like,
Yeah.
I didn't say that, and he's like, Yeah, you
You
did.
did.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, so
That's
it's-
great.
But
Yeah.
that's like Rocky.
That movie's
pays-
very raw because it was done for very little money. Like
Oh, it
they
was.
just kind of did it on the streets.
Yeah, $1.1 million.
Yeah.
All the running shots were literally just guerrilla style. They would just run
Yep.
around. He would just run
So,
around Philly.
I was watching this
Yeah.
a thing about the behind the scenes on that, and there's a scene where he sees the little girl and he pulls her away from those guys or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're walking.
They're
You
smoking.
see like a U-Haul or something in the back, like two U-Hauls and then a bunch of like equipment or something.
Yeah.
That was the film crew,
Right.
Yeah,
They just like kept it in the shot. They were like, oh, whatever, fuck, we don't care.
we don't have
That's
time to
awesome.
reshoot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they didn't have time to like move the van out of the way and have like a clear street, so they just left it. They
Right.
were like,
And there's
we
the
need to shoot.
iconic stairs scene, obviously up
Oh, yeah.
the what is it, the Philadelphia Museum of
Philadelphia
Art or
Museum of
whatever,
Art, yeah.
and he runs up the stairs. What I love in the second one, when he's doing that, all those people are following him. All those kids
Yeah.
are running
Kids, yeah,
behind him,
yeah.
which is cool. And
It
that's
was cool, yeah.
And that's an iconic scene, but it's in the second movie, not in the first one.
There
The
was
first
like
one, he's unknown.
10,000 kids.
the
or
first one
something.
he's
A lot of
chasing
kids.
chickens.
Yeah, and the first one, first
No,
one, he's just second
no,
one.
I'm
he's
sorry, the
chasing
second one's
chickens.
chasing
Yeah, I think it's the
chickens.
second
Yeah,
one he's
sorry.
chasing chickens. But the first one, he's running, but he's by himself. Even when he finally conquers the stairs, he's solo. Nobody
Yeah.
knows who he is. And what's cool is that scene where he's running through the market,
Yeah.
and those people are like throwing him an apple or whatever, he's eating it, and that's all real. 'Cause
Yeah,
they literally-
it felt like a lot of it was guerrilla.
Yeah,
Like they didn't get.
it was.
I got the impression they didn't get permission to film and some of that stuff, so they just set up a camera on like a car or
Yep.
something, and
Yep.
they just drove through. Because you see
Exactly.
people like, what the?
Yeah.
And you see people in the
Yeah.
background like, fuck's going on here?
I love that. And that
It's
scene,
crazy,
There's
yeah.
so much like that scene where he's running by the water and he's running faster and faster, and you just
Yeah.
see him, and that's all like they have the camera on a truck and
Oh,
they're just following along.
Bill Conti, who did the music, like just fucking
Yeah,
nailed
because he
it.
had
Like,
Gonna
that's
Fly
incredible.
now is
Oh my
playing
gosh,
during that
yeah.
scene. But that visually, that scene, like first off, it's real. He is running that fast. Like he is just like
Crazy,
Oh
yeah.
my god! And it just gets faster and faster, and you can see it. in him.
Steroids.
Steroids,
It's so but it's like that scene alone is just inspirational. Like
Yeah.
just what he's doing to his body, just to be able to move that fast, and the way that scene
Oh, the
looks
eggs.
for
Don't forget the eggs.
1976.
Don't forget the eggs.
Yeah, for 1976, that's actually like a real. I don't know, something visually about that scene, and I think it's just because he's running so fast and he physically.
It's
does it
not
with
even
his
just
body.
that scene. It's just the whole film. It's when you're watching
raw
Rocky,
eggs.
you're watching. It was done in very low budget, but you watching the rawness of someone's life.
Yeah.
You really are. And it's not just about the boxing, it's about this guy who literally, I mean, the meat market scenes, how he's practicing fucking hitting the fucking, cow that's hanging on a fucking hook
Yeah.
in the meat market where it's fucking cold and it fucking stinks.
I love
And
that Apollo's guy is like,
like watching
dude,
it,
he's
he's
like,
like,
you
whoa.
guys, this guy's serious
And
here.
he's talking about promotion. He's over there like, okay, whatever.
We're gonna
yeah,
make
yeah,
so much
sure.
money
We're
off
gonna make
this.
so
This
much
is
money.
great.
And he's watching this guy beat up raw meat on
yeah,
TV.
it's
He's
just
like,
crazy. There's such
because he's counted out. Like nobody cares about him.
Nobody cares,
Nobody
yeah.
loves Rocky. Like
Yeah.
he's just like this.
I
guy
will
that-
say though,
But that's
when,
the thing.
in retrospect, watching that movie, the whole Adrian Rocky dynamic was very in today's world. It's a very
it's creepy.
It's not creepy, but I'm like when I watch it, I'm like,
The
oh,
apart-
okay. Well, this is that time period. Like this is the '70s. Like I don't know what people, whatever.
Yeah.
Like
the apartment scene where he
the turtle.
kind of rapes. No, he kind
No,
of.
he
didn't
did-
rape her.
He just like puts
Why
his
would you
arm
say
up.
that?
He puts
There's
his
not a
arm
lot of-
up, and he's
there's
like,
not a lot of
he's like,
consent.
no, don't leave. But then it
Why
She
would
gets
you say
into it.
rape her?
Yeah, nobody-
There's
no-
nobody.
I'm sorry, I'm not
That
trying to
was
do it. I
what-
love that movie, but it's a little rapey.
It's not
No,
rapey.
it's not at
no,
all.
No,
It's like
not.
that Blade Runner
it is
scene
not.
where it's like
I
it's a
would just
great
say-
scene, but it's a
No.
little rapey. He rapes the
What?
android. In
What?
Blade
like
Runner.
wrong with
like
you,
Paulie
Nick?
living with his sister and
You
the
need a
fact
little
that
porn
she's
in your life.
Excuse me.
like that.
You need to get that out of your system.
I remember watching it. I watched it with my three nieces and my nephew who are
Yeah.
all young, and they were creeped out. They were like, "Wow, like this guy's like forcing this woman to like stay in
He
his
corners
apartment."
her. He corners her.
And they were like disturbed, and I was like, "Oh, I guess as an adult,
You guys
like
are
I don't
totally
know."
talking about like one side of the whole. He didn't force her to do anything. he
He's a
never
little
did.
forcey.
He did not.
He's got his big
No.
bicep up there, and he's like kind of got her in the
that's
corner.
his-
He
No.
asks her. He does.
He
He's
asked
just
her.
like,
He
"I
didn't
want you to
force her.
stay," and he's like, "Can I kiss you?" and all
And
this
she's
stuff.
but
and-
she's so like she's practically a mute.
But
She
that's the
doesn't say
awesome
That's the
thing
whole
about this
movie.
whole
That's
thing.
the
You
whole
have
movie, though.
two.
She's that character.
You have two different worlds.
he brings
that
her out of her
should not
shell by
work
raping her.
out.
No, he didn't.
Oh,
Nobody
I
raped
hate, I hate
anybody.
that word, dude.
Yeah, that didn't.
I hate that word.
All right,
But
all right.
You have two different.
Let me
look,
redeem myself on this.
But
No,
Paulie,
wait.
Paulie was a piece of shit to her.
Paulie
the whole
was a
movie,
piece of
and
shit
she
the
was
whole
just
time.
like so suppressed and was like,
And she was so suppressed, and you see that like he brings her out of that. That
He
is
does.
beautiful.
because
That's-
she backlashes
Yeah,
to Paulie
she-
later in the movie.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
like loses it on him.
By the third,
And he's
fourth
like,
movie,
"Who's
she's
this?"
completely
He
different.
makes her
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
Dude, look at the relation. He makes her strong, and she makes him strong.
I
That
agree.
is.
I remember-
that is a incredible love story.
I
right
read
there.
an
I agree.
article where
It's
they
a-
basically brought that film up as like
Why?
a negative portrayal or whatever. And rewatching the film, I'm like, I don't.
There's
think so.
no
I don't
level
think so.
of.
I
It's
think
just,
it-
it's about 3 seconds of the film, and you go, but I know
I
what
think
you're
it's
saying
3
because
seconds
what,
of Nick. That's what
No,
it was.
I'm not-
you should rewatch it. It's not
Yeah,
that bad.
It's not. No,
It wasn't as bad
It
as I
was
thought
not.
it was when I remembered it.
Oh,
When I rewatched it, I was like listen to the dialogue. Yes, he does physically. He's
That's
like-
what I'm saying. I'm
he's
like, it's a
no,
little bit-
baby.
He never.
It's a little.
He
come on.
never touched her.
He takes his
He
shirt
never
off.
touched her. He's being.
He does touch her. He
He's
touches her
showing the
lips.
Italian swagger. He's
Yeah,
trying.
he's
he
this is
but he
modern day
never-
Italian
yeah.
guy.
He's
Yeah.
he's
Wow.
If you look at
forward.
Urban Dictionary under Italian swagger, it says rapey vibe.
Oh my gosh, dude!
No, I'm
I hate
kidding.
that word. No, he never touched her. He never was rude. He was his character. He had this swagger about him. He was trying to
He's
show,
a
"Hey,
good
I'm
guy,
cool."
and they fell in
And
love, and
he
they were fine. But the
was
scenes,
always respectful.
and he's a
respectful to
little.
her.
He's a
Yeah.
little.
he does get a.
What's weird about Rocky is he's not like mentally challenged. Like he's like
He's just not smart. He's not
I
book
think he's
smart.
punch
Yeah,
drunk.
it's like
I think
He's
just
street
punch drunk.
smart. He's
Yeah.
not book smart. That's
I
all
think
it
he's
is.
a little
know, but
punch drunk too, because he's already been a fighter for a while, and I think he's just gotten punched so many times. He talks about how many times his nose has been broken, all these different things. I think
No, his nose had never been broken
No,
in the
that's the
first
only
film,
thing, right,
and it
yeah.
wasn't to the end.
that's
He's
right.
like-
That's the only. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
I think
But,
about my
but he'd
nose.
been punched a lot,
Yeah.
and you get this idea that like he's been punched so many times, he's a little bit punch drunk, and I think
Yeah.
that's kind of
Well,
what.
he had like 30 fights or
No, that-
something
that
before
definitely-
he
yeah.
fought
Exactly.
Apollo,
yeah, he wasn't some new fighter. He was kind of almost past his prime in a way.
No, and you see that in that first scene where he's boxing, where he's just getting punched away.
The Spider or whatever,
He's not.
Spider or
Yeah, he
whatever.
doesn't know.
I like
to
how they
bo-
brought that guy back for
For,
Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa, yeah.
He was
He-
like,
He was a real fighter.
He was, like,
I think
working
he was a
in the,
real amateur fighter. I think.
was he?
I think so. I think so.
But he didn't know how to properly box. He had this hunger for boxing, but he was just in the ring getting punched.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he learned how to box with Mick.
You know, it's weird.
So-
like
He didn't even get graceful to
this
the third
film-
movie.
he didn't. Yeah.
This film somehow reminded me of like the excitement of like, you know, when Mike Tyson was in his prime. And I remember as a
Oh,
kid, like
man.
everybody was like Tyson this and Tyson that. And I feel like modern boxing, I don't know, I guess it's still there to a degree, but
Mayweather.
it's less.
It's less of a big.
No.
It's not as big a
It's
sport.
less.
it is. It's
Not-
just.
not
It's,
like
it's
it used
just
to be,
still
though.
there.
It's
I'm
just-
just like too old
It
or
is.
something.
It's still there.
They're charging
It's
too much
just,
to watch the
um,
fights now. It's all pay per view on HBO. You used to
No,
be able
it's
to
not.
watch this. Yeah,
You
it
can.
is.
You
All
can.
of it.
Fi- Friday
every
night
single
fights.
Part of, no, there's no such thing as that.
There is a.
No,
what
you're
are you
wrong.
talking about? I watch boxing. What is wrong with you? No, there's boxing is just like it's like that thing.
I don't
if
think
you-
it's as big a sport as it used to be.
I think it is. I think just people are just not in it because when you see,
That's literally.
no, I
Maybe
just
it's
I
not
don't think
as-
people. What I'm saying is I don't think. You know, when you're out of that circle, you don't see it as much because you're just not in that circle. I'm in that circle, so
Yeah.
I know how.
But I just think it used
how
to
much
be.
boxing
It
is.
used to be a bigger sport. Like a lot more people were paying attention.
I think
to
it was bigger because of certain boxers made a spectacle
That's
out of
what
it,
I'm saying.
like
Or it's promoted in a certain
Tyson,
way, yeah.
like
I
It was
agree.
also you had less.
There was
content.
exciting-
There was less content. Like now, you can like
Exactly.
turn
I think
on the
that's what it
TV,
is.
go on the internet, and you have like access to like 1,000.
I think
different
that's right.
forms of entertainment.
I think that's what it is. It's
Before
just,
it was like,
everything's
you know,
spread
20
thin.
different
Nothing's
things
getting
to
as
choose
much
from.
attention.
yeah,
as it
and it
used to
just
be.
became like
Yeah.
a certain
It's
type
true.
of people watch
Academy
it, yeah.
Awards just had its lowest ratings like in fucking forever or ever, and it's just like everything spread so thin. Like everybody could watch anything at any time.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Boxing just become it has become that sport where is actually it's really like high end people watch.
Yeah.
You know, it's
a
really
snot-
money makers. It's a very
It's a classy, snobby sport now.
Unless you go on YouTube and you just watch those guys that illegally stream it while it's happening.
Yeah.
And then wait until YouTube shuts them
There you
down.
go, yeah.
But all right, let me move on to my
All
next
right,
film
yeah.
because we're spending a lot of time on Rocky because
Yeah.
Rocky's a great film.
It
So-
is. It is one of the greatest.
That might actually be the top.
top sports film. It might be.
All of our lists, actually.
It might be the highest quality film.
So
yeah,
the,
sports film.
Sports
yeah.
film, yeah.
So the second film that I'm going to talk about is, I think, not a lot of people give it a lot of credit, but I think it's another great boxing film, which is Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe.
I've never seen this movie.
It's really good. Ron Howard directed it.
Ron Howard directed
I'll
it,
tell
yeah.
you, when I saw that movie, I was like, "This is a good fucking film."
It
And
is
yeah,
a
it
very
doesn't
good
get
film.
enough credit, but it was really good. It takes place in the Great Depression era.
Yeah.
of this down on his luck boxer who was rich and now he's basically
Based
dead
on a
broke.
true story or
yeah,
no?
yeah, it's
Okay.
based on a true story. It takes place in New York. Is it Renee Zellweger? Is the
Yes,
woman?
yes.
Yeah, it's just really good. Like it's solid. Russell Crowe. It's like past his prime, broke. Used to be.
He's
top
not
of-
supposed to
used be the
box,
top guy.
yeah.
Yeah, he's not supposed to box. Keeps trying to get in. Keeps trying to find a way in, and it's just like nobody fucking gives a shit about him.
And you see him, like you see certain scenes where he's boxing and he's bringing home this like scrap change just to get food for his kids, and they live like in this basement, in this rugged alley.
It reminds me of Far and Away when Cruz would
I
go
love
and
that film.
fight and
Yeah, bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah.
I love that film.
That's a good movie.
And it was so good. The story is told so well. I mean, this just gives so much credibility to Ron Howard and how he tells stories about this boxer that just has nothing. Then he comes back into the scene. But then you don't see just that story. You see like rich people, like his promoter who is trying to act rich, but then when they walk into his house, he has no furniture. He has to like sell his
all
furniture
appearances.
it's all
Yeah.
appearances and stuff. And it's just a beautiful told story, and his relationship with his family and how his wife doesn't want him to box because he's like, he literally can't get punched and he could die.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a great.
Yeah, and the villain of that
great-
piece, I mean, it's a villain. You know, sports movies, quote unquote, villains are just like their opponents.
Yeah, exactly.
usually.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But the guy's kind of a piece of shit in real life, or like outside of the ring as well. And
Yeah.
what is he? That whole thing with the like, he kind of does the Clubber Lang thing, trying
Yeah.
to like grab the woman or like try to be like, oh, come with a real man. That whole thing. But and the guy was a killer, had killed people in the ring. I think when he went up against him. But and I looked at fights of that real guy. There were some like grainy old videos of him from that time period,
Yeah.
a real guy, and it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was just great. It was a great film. It was a
was.
really good film, and Russell Crowe did very well in it. Ron Howard, I mean, he directed it like incredibly, and I just really. There's like, you know, when you watch a film and you say there's something about that film that just makes you want to watch it again and again. You just don't know. It's not that it's like the most incredible film in the world.
Right.
It's weird, yeah. Those films to me are the ones that always like, you know, they stick because
Yeah.
there's a lot of films you'll watch and be like, man, that was awesome, but you like won't watch it again for 15
Yeah.
years,
I agree.
and then there's
Yeah.
other films you're like. You just watch it like over and over and over. It has
True.
all this replayability, and you don't know why, but
Yeah.
you like can
I love
continue to
that.
watch it and not feel bored of it. or
I
not-
love that X
Yeah.
quality of films, that thing where you like, you don't even know why. You just like, for some reason, I'll watch this over and over. And a movie I really, really, really enjoyed and I thought was great,
Yeah.
I won't necessarily watch again.
Yeah,
And I don't know which ones is like what that means. It's just
I don't
it's
know, yeah.
interesting, yeah. But yeah, look,
There's-
Cinderella Man, even Paul Giamatti was nominated for an Oscar in that.
Yeah, and and Paul Giamatti, how his relationship with Russell Crowe's wife, Renee Zellweger.
yeah.
I can never say her name right. How she hated him because he always kept bringing him back into boxing world,
Right.
and how, you know, there's scenes where Russell Crowe is telling his wife that you need to take the kids away because I just can't support you, and then, you know, you see scenes where Paul Giamatti, what's the fuck is his name?
Paul Giamatti.
Giamatti.
Yeah.
Towards the end, he flips and he's seeing her side of it, and, you know, because he's going, the story elements and how they start, like, they're
It's a
kind of
story-driven
separate.
sports
Yeah,
film.
they're separate. You have everybody's individual story,
Yeah.
and then how they start intertwining and coming together, and things start changing. What happens on one side starts happening on the other side. It's just beautifully
Yeah.
told, and it's all based because of this guy. He has this boxing skill that they're just trying to bring back into the boxing world, and it was just beautiful. It was just, I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's that film that for some reason you keep watching. It was never that great anywhere. It never got that great ratings.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
you
it was
just keep
nominated for 3
watching.
Oscars, 2 of them like technical, like makeup and editing.
Yeah,
It's
not
kinda like
anything.
when
Yeah.
Ron
And then-
Howard was in his prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's coming back. Han
Yeah,
Solo.
there you go.
Like,
but
next
yeah,
month?
this
Yeah,
month,
yeah.
Next month?
May, I think. Yeah, May,
Yeah,
May. So 2 months. But he
Oh, by the way, I watched Star Wars
Oh, good.
Last Jedi.
Oh, you did?
I just want to jump that in.
Oh,
Anyways.
goddamn it. We need
Finally
to have a whole
did.
podcast
I know,
about
we
this.
do. Yeah, finally watched it.
2 years later.
But I mean, the movie's got an 8.0 on IMDb. Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not like it's liked. It's a good movie, and people generally liked it. But it's just, you don't hear about it a lot. Like people don't talk about it a lot. And I feel like it was more of a. I think it's a classic film. Like I watch it and I go, I think that was up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sports films, I feel like, are that way.
Every
For
now
some
and then,
reason.
yeah. Sometimes I guess probably in the last 15 years, it seems there's been a like oversaturation of sports films. It feels like that. They did a lot of like movies about the 50s and the 60s and basketball and football.
Yeah,
like,
Bring It On.
Well, surely. No, but yeah, like the Coach Carter and the Glory Road and the
Drumline.
and yeah,
Oh,
remember
yeah.
the Titans? We Are Marshall.
Wait,
They just had
Drumline,
a lot
wasn't
of-
that
Nick
what's
Cannon?
his name?
Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Oh,
and Zoe
Nick
Saldana.
Cannon. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I confused Nick Cannon with Michael B. Jordan.
Oh yeah, totally different. Nick Cannon, Michael B. Jordan, great actor. Nick Cannon, not so much. He really is not a great actor. He's
Isn't
fun
he
to
married
watch.
to Mariah Carey?
He
now?
was.
Was? Okay.
No, but he's a Drumline. No,
He did good in Drumline.
I think he did the opposite of good. In
I feel like I
Drumline.
remember thinking like it wasn't a bad movie.
If you,
I don't-
no,
I haven't
it's
seen it in
a
long
fun
time.
movie. It's a fun movie, especially
Yeah.
with all the drumming. But if you watch it, Nick Cannon not so good.
So it's
No,
no
you know-
whiplash, is what you're saying.
It's no
It's that film
whiplash.
where everything just works out, and that's why I feel he did good.
Oh, and
because
every time
everything
he was
works out.
drumming, they would just cut to his hands. Like they didn't even try to like look like
Yeah,
he was
but there are
really
a lot
drumming.
of movies
Didn't
like
matter.
that.
It was-
No, they didn't do it skillfully.
Like
though.
Flashdance, like they would just cut
I
to
know,
like
that was
another
pretty terrible.
person dancing.
Sometimes
clearly.
a guy.
How many
in a wig.
films do you
Yes.
just cut? How many
Yes.
films do you just cut to legs?
Maniac.
Yeah. How many films do you
That's
just cut to
Hollywood,
legs
That's
man.
dancing and stuff
Hollywood.
like that?
It's true.
That's true.
You know what? In The Matrix, it wasn't Neo typing.
That's true.
True.
It could have been
You know?
anybody.
No, that is
I'm
true.
just saying.
Sometimes they do yeah. And,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
just
that's like
saying.
second unit director would,
Yeah.
would come in and shoot all those pickups.
But every now and then
That's
they'll-
not Keanu's
There's,
hand.
there's a couple movies out there where they actually literally pan from the guy's face down to him playing the guitar, and they just did it so like they did. It was CG though, but they did it so skillfully you can't even tell. They've done that like a couple times, and it's very impressive.
All right, so third film. As I said, I'm keeping in the realm of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a film that was done with 3 incredible actors,
Mm-hmm.
one
Do we know what this movie
director.
is?
I have no idea. What
I
you're talking
do
about.
because I'm talking about.
I feel like I know what it is, but I want to see if I'm right. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna just name one person:
Name a
And-
person, we'll figure it out.
Hilary Swank.
Oh,
Oh
Million
yeah,
Dollar
Billy
Baby.
Dollar Baby.
Yeah, baby. Get
Clint
it?
Eastwood
I thought
directed
he was.
this.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he
did.
directed
okay.
and acted in
Yeah,
it.
Morgan Freeman was in
Morgan
it as well.
Freeman. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be. I thought he was gonna
I-
say Raging Bull.
If you haven't seen this
Love-
movie, you decide to watch it. It's depressing as fuck.
It is an emotional roller
It's
coaster.
good.
It's
It's really good,
incredible.
though.
It is an emotional.
By the
roller
way,
coaster.
Hilary Swank fucking killed it as a
She was an
boxer,
interesting character.
as an actor in this film. She played. I cannot see any. You know when an actor or actress does so well, you can never see anybody else in that role.
Yeah.
That is exactly what she did.
Yep, and she won an
And
Oscar.
she
for that
won
film.
an Oscar for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it also won Picture of the Year, best film.
Yeah.
And it-
Oh, that's right. It did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Morgan Freeman won for his
Yep.
performance, and Clint Eastwood won for directing, and he was also nominated. He was nominated for a shitload of other ones, editing, writing.
I think it was 9 nominations.
Something like
9,
that, yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it's a really good film.
It's
dark, it's heavy, but
It
she
is
plays.
so-
Her character is like not naive, but like optimistic, eternally optimistic.
Yeah.
In the face of like torture and pain and punishment, and her own family being the biggest piece of shit in the world. Like all this stuff that would normally break somebody or make somebody a piece of shit themselves. Like
Right.
they don't affect her in that way.
Yeah.
She's like
No.
it really is inspirational in terms of like who she is and
I compare her, like if I compare her to, let's say, Rocky.
yeah.
Rocky's character, he loved boxing, but he never cared to become great.
Yes.
Yeah.
He lucked out.
He lucked out. Hilary Swank had a hunger.
She put in the work.
She put in the work. She wanted to become great.
She was more like Michael
she
B.
knew
Jordan
this
in
is
that way, in
she.
Creed.
Yeah, she knew like this is what my life goal is. This is what and she showed that. She showed and you can actually compare Rocky and her, you know, in the mindsets. They weren't really that smart. They weren't smart in the realm of like
book smart.
The political part of boxing, the outside, the book smarts and stuff.
Business.
And so they needed these people. So they were alike in that area.
Well, a smart person's probably going to figure out that they're going to get punched in the face repeatedly. And they're gonna be like,
Probably shouldn't do
that. You got to be a little stupid to be willing to do
Yeah,
that.
exactly. No, well, you get paid $4 million to get
I don't know
punched
that
in
I
the
would.
face.
Well, you have to build up to that. You don't just start getting paid $4 million. Or
Honey-
I'd get punched in the face for half an
Honey,
hour.
smack me
all
for
right?
half an hour, and then I'll see how it feels. Then I'll see if I'll
Oh,
take that
God.
contract. You know.
Oh, the toll that must take on you mentally, though.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly. But her not only her relationship with Clint Eastwood and Morgan Freeman, and then you have the relationship that happens in the latter part of the film where you start understanding her relationship with her family.
Oh.
You know, how she's just like not accepted in her family, how they fucking treat her. And then Clint Eastwood starts noticing that and he starts loving her, you know, caring
Like a daughter.
caring for her. Because he was like this angry dude. He did not want to do like, I'm not doing this anymore. And then, you know,
crotchety.
she basically
He's really good at that, actually.
by Morgan Freeman.
Get off my lawn.
Gran
Yeah,
Torino,
yeah,
yeah.
he's really good at get off my lawn.
Get off
yeah.
my lawn.
Yeah, and because of Morgan Freeman, he starts training her. You know, like Morgan Freeman ripped him apart in his office, and because of that scene, Clint Eastwood started training her and started giving her an opportunity, and then you see him start building a relationship with her, and then what the dynamics that happen when she gets hurt. You know, how he blames
Was that
himself.
based on a book or is that an original
I
screenplay?
don't-
I feel like it was based on a
It's
book.
yeah.
Let me look it up real
Maybe
quick.
I don't know.
I like Clint Eastwood not always, but he's been
Yeah,
doing
it was an
film-
adapted.
book
It was
adaptations.
nominated for an adapted screenplay by Paul Haggis.
Is
which
it based
was
on a
loaded,
true story
actually.
too?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I've never heard that was based on a true story. I can look that up.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Anyways, yeah, that is a really good one.
So it's just an incredible film. I don't know what it is. I just love boxing films, and this one was one of the ones that took me back. I would say it took me back to the first Rocky, and you felt that.
I mean, Rocky didn't end that way, but yeah. I see what you're saying.
Not even
Up
that-
until
the
a certain
emotions
point
that-
in that film, you're
Yeah.
like rooting and you're like, yeah. And then this like one moment just like fucks the whole movie up
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me.
Oh.
But it makes it very memorable.
What do you mean
Yeah.
fucked it up? Like you didn't like
Oh,
it?
you
Or-
felt
Let's not-
fucked up.
Let's not spoil. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like 15 years later.
15 years, yeah,
You wanna
no,
spoil- all right,
yeah.
fine, spoil
I'm
it.
calling
Fuck it.
spoil.
Just
I'm
spoil it.
calling my
You're right,
spoil
you're
on
right.
this
So,
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
do it, you're
you
right.
know, and she
You can spoil just that early part. You don't have to spoil the end.
No.
She gets raped by Rocky at the end.
God, you and that fucking word. No, she.
That's like a trigger word for him.
She gets like.
Now I feel bad.
This is what happens in this film. She fucking gets hit hard, and because they forget
The
to
game is
take,
over.
They forget to take.
The
I'm
fight is
trying to.
over,
I'm
sorry.
trying to. No, the fight was. Yeah, the fight is over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they forgot to take the seat out of the ring. She falls over and busts her neck, like in
snaps
slow.
her neck
she
on the-
snaps
on the
her
stool.
neck
Chair,
on
yeah.
the chair.
It's like literally
stool,
freak
yeah.
And
accident.
you
really.
see all this happen in slow motion.
And you just see her-
You see her popping, like her neck breaking. You
Well,
see
explain-
Clint Eastwood jumping to try to grab.
Explain the scene though.
It's-
like she just won.
She just won.
girl
Yeah,
punches
yeah.
won
her
the
in the back
fight.
of the head or something?
She just won the
fight
fight.
is over. They announce her, and then the girl
Just
she
comes
turns her
and just
back, and the girl just like punches her,
wails her, yeah.
yeah, in the back of the head, and she falls in
she
slow
falls,
motion and hits
yeah.
this thing. And
Well, she turns around. The girl hits her, and she falls and hit. And all this is happening in slow motion. And
female boxers are the worst. I
It's
swear.
it's just a crazy scene. And then you see her at the hospital, just rigged up with like you can't move. I'm talking about she's paralyzed.
Yeah.
And none of her family members come to see her.
Well,
Clint,
they do,
well, hold on.
eventually, yeah, right.
Eventually, but Clint Eastwood
horrible.
basically has Morgan Freeman running his gym, and Clint Eastwood literally does not leave her side.
Right.
And then he sees her mom and stuff coming there, and they're not coming there because of her.
Like her siblings.
They're
and her
coming.
Mom
They're
and
coming there because her popularity
Her
and
money.
her money.
She won a
and
bunch
she's
of money in the
and
fight,
they're
yeah.
trying. She's fucking like laying there paralyzed, and they're fucking trying to get her to sign a contract.
But first they come
To
in
give-
from Go ahead.
Yeah, to sign her life away to them so they can have money. And Clint Eastwood is seeing this, and
Would tell them the worst part.
Yeah.
she does.
No, the Disney World part.
Yeah,
they're
come
literally
in
on
with
their way to
they're
Disney
literally-
World.
Or
yeah,
did they
they're-
come back from Disney World? Or like,
Maybe
they didn't show
they
up on time.
arrived
One
and
or the
went to
other, one or the
Disney,
other.
They got
and
Disney
then
World.
came to
Yeah.
see their fucking daughter.
They got
who
the
was,
T-shirts and everything like that.
paralyzed.
Yeah.
Like they literally flew in.
It was-
They went to Disney World.
I don't
first.
know why they had to go to Disney World. All right, I love
Yeah.
Disney World. I was just like, this is fucked.
They
up.
went to Disney
And
World
here's the
first, and then they went to the hospital.
And
Now I'm
you
going to
see-
judge people when I'm at Disney World and just look around and be like,
Be like,
"Oh,
is your
fucking
daughter in a
$1 million baby
paralyzed?"
families running around here.
Here's the thing. That's why this story is so incredible. Is that you have this first story in the film where you're seeing this person in their drive, and you have then this second story coming in where you're seeing this so fucked up situation. But Hilary Swank is still sending money to her mom. It's still like providing for her
She's a good person.
These
Yeah.
family who fucking used her.
Yeah.
And it's just, and you're seeing this situation, and it's like
She has a lot more care for her family than they ever
it's
had
not
for
even
her.
it wasn't even that. It was just the fact that I think I saw the reverse way where they're just fucked up. They're just
Yeah.
using her, and you just hate them so much,
Yeah.
and you're like trying to tell her stop, walk away, and she's just like, no, she's being this
This is
person.
why Rocky
she's-
held on to Paulie.
yeah, she's being this person beyond you, where she's saying it doesn't matter what they do to me; it's what I need to do for them, and it's just so fucking incredible. So,
Yeah, no, it's a great film.
but those are my three films that I'm
Yeah,
gonna talk
those are
about,
good-
and
those
just
are all good movies.
just throw one in.
Although I haven't seen Cinderella Man.
You need to see it.
yeah.
You need to see it.
I
Just
wanna
throw
see it.
one in at the end of that. It's South Park. I love
South Park.
Southpaw. Sorry, Southpaw.
South Park. I was like, South Park the movie? We
Hey.
could include that?
I'm a boxer.
I
I
like
don't know.
South Park.
I don't watch South
Yeah,
Park though.
South Park the movie, bigger,
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 better boxing.
louder,
Bigger, better
Bigger,
boxing.
louder,
Uncle,
something.
Uncle
anyway.
Fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Uncle Fucker,
song.
yeah.
Southpaw.
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say South Park because I thought that was rugged. And that was done very
Yeah,
well.
Southpaw was really good. Yeah, it was actually originally written for Eminem by Kurt,
Yeah.
Kurt
Oh,
Sutter,
okay.
who did Sons of Anarchy. He wrote that movie for Eminem with Eminem in mind. Eminem didn't and was going to star in it. Ended up going, you know what? I don't want to go away from music to do this. It's a whole thing. I got to train for it and everything. So instead, he did the soundtrack for it, and they got Jake Gyllenhaal instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good movie though. Really good one. All right, so we're moving on to me now.
We're moving on to you. Let's do this.
Okay, let's switch up sports now. I got 3 movies, and they're actually all in different sports. So, mix it up a little bit. First one, I've mentioned this before as one of my favorite films, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
It's funny because this movie, it's like, oh, is it a romantic comedy? Is it a sports film? It really, and it absolutely is both. Like, it really is a sports film. The whole thing, he's a sports agent. There's a lot of football in it. There's entire games.
You got no heart.
Guy, no heart? I'm all heart, motherfucker. Yeah, no, there's so many quotable lines in that movie, but the movie itself is very sports, and there's a lot of sports references in it. There's a lot of sports talk. It's all revolves around sports.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
It's like the politics behind sports.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly. I
It's
mean,
the
the
sports
whole-
world. It's the whole functioning of
sports.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise plays Jerry Maguire, who's a sports agent, and he's just a smarmy sports agent, just like anybody else. They're in there for the money until that athlete, because unlike any other world in sports, especially high contact sports like football, you're one and done sometimes. Like they just wear out their bodies very quickly, and then that's it for them. Yeah. So that there's a short lifespan on those careers, and it shows this kind of idea of these agents who don't really give a shit. They're there for the bottom line. They're not caring about the athletes. They're just trying to get as much money out of it as they can before this athlete is done. And he has this kind of realization very early on, actually, because he had a conversation with a kid. His dad was in the hospital again, and he's like, "Are you gonna make him stop? Before he's killed?" And he just gives him, and Jerry Maguire gives him this stupid, smarmy, big grin on his face. You know what? It would take 100 VR trooper, soldier, whatever, to stop your dad. Am I right? And then this whole time he's looking at his beeper, kind of giving him this half-assed response. And the kid just looks at him and goes, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
He walks away, gives him the finger, and he just like, for some reason, that fuck you from this kid whose dad is practically dead.
Fuck me.
I'm
Jerry Maguire.
No, but that's not what it does to him. Instead, he kind of is watching, and he snaps out of it, and he goes, "What have I become? Like,
Yeah.
like I literally lost my humanity somewhere in here, and I'm just a salesman that doesn't give a shit about people. And he saw the effect that was being created on this kid.
Yeah.
And he had this feverish dream or whatever, ended up writing this whole
Manifesto,
mission statement. You go, I got your
statement.
memo. It was a mission statement, actually. Or I got your mission statement. It was just a memo, or whichever one he does.
Yeah.
And it's this whole thing, like, we need fewer clients, less money, care more about these people as individuals, and take on less so that we can give more attention to them on an individual basis. And people were like, are you fucking nuts? And
No,
they fire
didn't
him. First, they clapped for
They
him.
clap. Yeah, the outside clap.
But
for
they
him.
were all bullshitters too. Like everybody's a bullshitter. They're like, "Oh my god, you got me right here in the heart. It's all great." And then they let him go.
Yeah.
They fire him.
It was
and he goes in a dwindling spiral kind of thing, and he tries to basically hold on to a couple clients that are like, which is Rod Tidwell, which is Cuba Gooding Jr.,
Cuba Gooding
who won
Jr.,
an Academy Award for it, and then you had Cush. I got Cush Lash, which is Jerry O'Connell, who ends up fucking backstabbing him basically and going back with SMI, which was his old agency.
Yep.
You know, he's left there with just him and Rod Tidwell.
Yeah.
You know, who's a fucking shit talking.
And he gives that famous speech where he's like, "Who's coming with me?"
Who's coming
he's
with
like,
me?
he gets fired and he's leaving.
Yeah, he's like, you know what?
He
These
grabs
fish
the
have
fish
integrity.
and then Renee Zellweger's like, "I'll go with you." 'Cause
Yeah.
she's been like obsessed with him, but like he doesn't know who
She's
she
like,
is.
I don't know what the
He goes,
fuck I
yes,
did.
Dorothy boy, thank
Whenever
you.
I think of that, I think of Half Baked. Actually,
Yes.
that scene in Half Baked when he's like, he gets fired from
Yeah.
a convenience store. He's like, "Who's coming with me?"
He says the whole
Or wherever it was.
choir
It was
scene.
like a
Yeah, it was
record
like-
store or something like
Yeah.
that.
Who's coming with me?
That's hilarious.
Except for Flipper here. He takes the fish. I'm not going to do what you all think I'm going to do, which is just flip out.
Yeah.
It's a great scene. But that movie's got so many great,
Yeah.
classic, iconic scenes. There's great, the Quan, you know, all the stuff about Quan. He's like, a lot of people have the coin, but they'll never have the Quan. That whole thing that Rod Tidwell does.
Yeah.
Like his fiance, which is played by Kelly Preston,
Yeah.
who's a total fucking bitch. Like, doesn't have an emotional bone in her body.
She's basically like he was in the beginning of the movie.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but now he's changed and she absolutely hasn't.
Yeah.
And then he starts falling for Dorothy, and the kid Jonathan Lipnicki is so fucking cute.
Yeah.
But just, you know, keeping with the sports theme, just everybody has like an interesting character arc in that film. Everybody kind of goes through this change, including Rod.
Yeah.
Rod is the kind of this shit talking. You know, he's great with his family, but when he's out there, he always plays with his head, no heart. Like that's what Jerry tells him. Like
Right.
you have this chip that resides right there on your shoulder. And it's like, if you just let that go and just play the game, not for the money, but for the love of the game, when you used to play it, when you were younger, and you just wanted to play for the passion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of convinces him that, and later on in the film, like, that's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I
No, it's
love
a
that
great
movie.
film. It had so many different elements of sport. And that's what I
Yeah.
liked about it. It was just,
Yeah.
it wasn't just about watching a game. It wasn't about just a player, but it was about the functions of the management. It was about the functions of the family. It was about the
because
functions
you don't
of
really
the-
get into that agent, like that view of the agent with regard to the sport. I can't really name any other movie where it's like the agent's the main character.
There aren't that
Money
many
Pit.
films specifically about like, you know, film or.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Money Pit was a-
agencies or
Moneyball?
whatever.
No, he's a manager. You think
Oh,
Moneyball?
Moneyball.
Money
No,
Pit
that was
with,
manager.
Tom
yeah.
Hanks and Shelley
Yeah.
Long.
Money Pit, yeah.
Moneyball.
Moneyball
But
was
he's a
management,
manager. Yeah. As scouts and managers.
Scouts and
What was
managers,
Trouble with the Curve?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a scout.
Okay.
Clint Eastwood plays a scout, and he's like going out trying to find, you know, the teams that they should, you know, draft or not draft, whatever they should pick up.
Yeah.
In the new season or whatever. Yeah, but they're scouts, and that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
thought that was a good movie.
Yeah, but Jerry Maguire is like the ultimate agent film, you know, sports agent film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's also based on a real guy, Jerry Maguire, inspired by a real agent who was kind of had that kind of epiphany and you know, went after, you know,
And did
treated
really
his
well
clients
afterwards,
in
yeah.
that well,
He did
in that
very
way.
well after.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read that
Exactly.
story. Yeah. He
Yeah.
did fucking like.
It was directed by Cameron Crowe.
Cameron
who
Crowe wrote,
also
written, and
did,
directed.
also famous.
Yeah, Say
which is in
Anything.
a weird way
Almost
kind of
famous.
or almost famous.
Yeah.
Similar concept in a way. It's like the behind the scenes of like the band. Whereas
Yeah.
this is behind the
In the
scenes of
70s.
like
Yeah.
you know, sports, like professional sports
Yeah.
players and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. He also did Say Anything.
Yeah.
He wrote Fast Times
did
at Richmond
Singles.
High.
Yeah.
Singles. He wrote Fast Time at Richmond High.
Yeah.
He did Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
I like
I
Vanilla
like that
Sky.
movie. It's trippy.
It's a crazy sci-fi movie.
And we
You
wouldn't
think
bought
it's
a
sci-fi,
zoo.
but it is. Yeah.
It definitely is.
It's been a long
yeah.
time since I've seen that film.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's trippy. All right, cool. So that's Jerry Maguire. Next one. White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah,
Spike Lee joined.
Oh, I thought
No,
you.
not Spike Lee at all.
Spike Lee didn't direct that?
No,
I
he
think it's
didn't.
Ron Sheldon, the guy who did
Really?
Bull
Yeah.
Durham.
Was Spike Lee connected to this at all?
Nope, not at all.
God, my whole.
Wait.
I think the flipped up hat that Wesley Snipes wears just made you think it was a Spike Lee
What was
film.
that? What's the film I'm thinking of?
He Got Game.
He got game.
Yeah, that's a
That
basketball
was
film that Spike Lee did.
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington,
Yeah.
yep. And then the guy who plays Jesus,
Yeah.
he was an actual basketball player. Yeah, but no, White Man Can't Jump, totally different from He Got Game.
This is the one where they're like hustling people.
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this
awesome.
movie, talk
Maybe I was
about
thinking of Jungle Fever or something. Anyway.
totally different. Wesley Snipes is in that. Yeah, Wesley Snipes has been in a couple Spike Lee joints, but this one is not Spike Lee. I think the guy who did it, his name is Ron Sheldon, who I think also did Bull Durham.
Okay.
But and Tin Cup, I think. He's done all these sports films.
Yeah.
But White Man Can't Jump, I love this movie. Talk about movies you could watch over and over. This is one of them. The dialogue in this film, the chemistry between Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, the fast-paced comedy of it, the
physicality of it. The
physicality
like
of
they're
it.
both incredible.
Yes.
Players. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Wesley Snipes is just so athletic, and Woody Harrelson is a great basketball player, and it shows in this movie.
Yeah.
They do a lot of their own shooting and a
Y'all
lot of
remember Rosie Perez?
Rosie Perez.
What?
I want you stupid son of a bitch.
I want you, stupid son of a bitch.
I love Rosie Perez in that movie when she gets on Jeopardy.
My gosh.
But this movie is another interesting thing because usually when you watch basketball movies, they're NBA or high school basketball, college basketball. This is street ball.
Yeah.
It's all street ball. Yeah. It's these courts in California where people play and then play for money, and it's like guys that go there, even NBA players that would show up on these courts would get their ass handed to them. That's kind of the idea. And it starts off with Woody Harrelson showing up on one of these courts. Nobody knows who he is. Most of the players are black. He's white. And he plays like he's some nerdy white guy. And so he hustles them for money and ends up taking Wesley Snipes for like all this fucking dough. And they're like, what the fuck just happened? And then he just pieces out. And his girlfriend is played by Rosie Perez, and he's trying to like, basically get all this money together to pay these like loan sharks or whatever that are coming after him. And then Wesley Snipes comes to him and says, "I have a business proposal. Let's go in on it together. We'll hustle people together." And they end up on a court, and Woody Harrelson's off on the side with his hat turned forward, pushed down a little bit, looking like a total nerd. You know, socks pulled up way fucking high.
Fuck it, I'll take that white guy right there.
And he doesn't even say that. Wesley Snipes is like, you know what? This is skill. You take anybody in here, I'll still beat your ass. They're like, all right, give him the white boy. He goes, no, fuck that shit. No white boy. No, absolutely not. Because he's like, you have to play it up real white in order to get picked. And they're like, give him the white boy. So he's like, you know how to play this game? He goes, I think so. He plays them, and they fucking trash them for all this money. The guy's like, you're hustling me. And he goes, and he pulls out a knife on him, and he goes, you fucking hustling me? He goes, no, what? I've never met this guy in my life. He goes, Sydney, why are you trying to negotiate with this guy? He goes, how the fuck does he know your name? Oh, fuck. He goes, you know what? Fuck y'all. Y'all all crazy. I'm going he goes, I'm going in my car and getting my gun. It's fun. They bust the fuck out of there.
Everybody's running off.
There's so much shit talking in this movie. So many fun street scenes, street ball scenes. It's just like, it's energetic. It's funny.
Where they film was in L.A.?
It's California. I don't know if it's in LA specific. It's the Watts area. I guess it's South.
No, I think
Central.
it's
they definitely
below
mentioned Watts.
LA. It's
They
below
mentioned.
LA.
I think it's South Central because they mentioned Watts in there. I'm not familiar enough.
It's
with
at the beach.
geography
No,
of
it's
LA.
where Arnold.
Not Venice Beach. Or is it?
It's that Venice Beach.
It might
area.
be that area. Anyways.
The Muscle Beach. You know that?
Yeah, like that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So,
it's really it's just a fucking great movie. It's really funny.
And then you have her side story, which Rosie Perez is trying to be on like
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy, yeah. And he's like takes all her fucking money. Oh fuck!
It's fucking great. There's a scene where Wesley Snipes after they become partners ends up screwing him over and hustling him again, and like with some of his friends, and they end up losing all this money, and he fucks him over, and it was as retaliation for the beginning scene where Woody Harrelson fucked him over. He goes, but we're partners now. Why would you do that to me? It's this whole thing. They just have such an interesting dynamic. I mean, it was so good that they reteamed a couple years later for Money Train, which I also love. But I could watch those two forever. I just think they're a great duo, like comedy duo, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was filmed in Venice Beach.
It was Venice Beach, yeah.
Santa Monica, Los Angeles, and Baldwin Hills in Los Angeles. So basically in Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Cool. Hey, have you seen White Man Can't Jump?
A long time ago.
Long time ago. I think it's worth rewatching. It's just like it holds up too. It really does. I watch it probably once a year.
Oh, it's their atmosphere. Their atmosphere together was just the thing that just made that movie like incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
So, yeah.
Next one. So that's basketball. Next one, I'm gonna take it to baseball. Okay, Field of just kidding. No,
Oh my gosh.
just kidding. No, Major League. This movie, it's a classic. People love it, but I don't think enough people go and seek out this movie. Maybe because of its title. Maybe because they're like, if they're not baseball fans, they're like, it's called Major League. Why would I watch that? This fucking movie is excellent. This movie is...
it's a comedy.
It's a comedy. It's a total comedy, but it's a comedy by lover of sports. Like, the guy who made this movie loves baseball.
Yeah.
And so it's done from that, but it's like the comedy and the cast that get together. Tom Berenger, Corbin Burnson, Wesley Snipes again.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking good. Like, scene after scene after scene. Charlie Sheen's in this. Plays the Wild Thing, the pitcher. It's just like... It just doesn't stop. It's fun and inspirational as a sports film, but it's funny. It's funny itself. Like it's rooted in comedy more than anything. So even if you're not a big baseball fan, if you like to laugh, this movie's for you.
Or if you're not a big Charlie Sheen
fan.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
Who's not a big Charlie Sheen fan?
I think late '80s Charlie
Platoon?
Sheen. Yeah, Platoon, Wall Street,
Yeah.
Hot Shots, and then this movie. You know, he had a run there.
God, what was that? What was he in? It wasn't Ferris Bueller. Was it Ferris
Yeah, it was.
Bueller?
Yeah, Ferris Bueller. Yeah, he's in the police station.
Yeah, that was great. I love that
he's
scene.
the druggie. Yeah. That's great. But Major League, I mean, the whole concept is that it's the Cleveland Indians, and the wife of the owner ends up getting this team,
Renee?
and she's a total bitch, and she basically decides. What did you say?
Renee Russo.
No, Renee Russo doesn't play the wife. She plays the
love
love
of
interest
the
for
game.
Tom Berenger.
That's For the Love of the Game, I think.
No, that's Kelly Preston.
No, Renee Russo
Renee
wasn't
Russo's in
major.
Tin Cup. With Kevin Costner. You guys are all over the fucking.
No, but she was in
Renee
Major
Ru-
League.
Yeah, she was
Tin
Tom
Cup.
Berenger's love interest.
Yeah, I thought-
That.
yeah.
Tin
no.
Cup is the golfing one.
Yes, Tin Cup's the golfing one.
Like
all
Bagger
right.
Vance. Bagger Vance?
The
Bagger Vance?
Legend of Bagger Vance. Yeah.
Legend of Bagger
Yeah.
Vance.
All right, that's
All right.
it.
All right.
Is that
all
a good
right.
movie?
It's all right. It's good. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, but back.
This is not even a
Major
derail.
League.
This is like different state.
All right. But the wife of the owner of the Cleveland Indians
Renee
ends up
Russo.
with no ends up getting this team.
Margaret Whitten.
There you go. She's the redhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she ends up getting this team, and there's this contract or whatever with the city or whatever that she finds out there's this loophole. If the team comes in dead last at the end of the season, she could move the team, and she wants to move it to Miami. She fucking hates Cleveland. She just wants to move this team to Miami, and so she decides to hire and get them to get the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
This is what they end up with. A team that's a team of misfits. Just the weirdest fucking guys. The rejects. The guys, Tom Berenger plays the catcher, and he's like on his last fucking legs. His knees are giving out. Will Smith is just like, not Will Smith. Wesley Snipes is just kind of out of nowhere. Nobody knows who he is. You have a voodoo guy played by Dennis Haysbert.
Oh, yeah. And the guy that plays
Serrano.
the president on 24.
Yeah, that's Dennis Haysbert. Yeah, he plays.
What is it?
Dennis Haysbert.
Dennis Haysbert,
He
yeah.
plays the voodoo guy,
Yeah,
Serrano.
Yeah.
Yes, Serrano likes the chicken when he needs to sacrifice a whole live chicken. They end up getting a bucket of KFC.
Yeah.
Anyways, you go. He keeps praying or whatever, or doing those sacrifices to Jabu, and so just to help his game, and he keeps striking out. And he goes, I ask you for help, Jabu, and you no help. So I say, fuck you, Jabu. I do it myself. It's great. I love that. Anyways, Charlie Sheen plays Wild Thing, and he's like in a correctional facility when they get him on the team, and he can't see properly, so he keeps throwing fucking wildly, and until they finally get him glasses, and then he can pitch properly. Anyways, it's just a great. Corbin Burnson plays this like uppity fucking like he used to be a good ball player at one point, but now he's rich and he doesn't want to fucking sacrifice himself for any plays. He doesn't want to like get down and dirty. He's just trying to play out this last contract, make the money, get endorsements and shit like that.
Yeah.
I love him.
So there's a scene where he actually fucks up this play in the game, and Tom Berenger, who's like kind of the leader in a way, I guess he'd be the captain or whatever they call him, and he comes to Corbin Burnson's mansion house, whatever, and wants to talk to him about this idea, like what happened to you. And and they're going back and forth, and Roger Dorn, which is Corbin Burnson, he's like, listen, man, I got 1 year left. I got all these endorsements. I'm not gonna mess up this moneymaker face, like whatever, just to fucking for some simple play. And so Tom Berenger's like, I don't know what happened to you, and he gives this great line. He goes, but if you ever tank another play like you did today, I'm gonna cut your nuts off and stuff them down your fucking throat. And the wife walks in at that exact moment, and it's just stone faced, and he walks out. I just love that scene. Anyways, that's Major League.
Yeah.
I love that fucking movie. It's funny. It holds up. The second one was not as good as the first one, but that first movie, fantastic.
It was, I think it was a great cast.
Yeah,
That's what made
great
the film.
cast.
Yeah.
Screwball. It's an ensemble
Yeah.
cast. Really, there's no leading actor. I guess Tom Berenger in a way, but not really. It's really just an ensemble piece. I'm gonna really quick just do an honorable mention because you did one at the end, which is Bull Durham. Kevin Costner, Susan Sarandon, Tim Robbins.
Yes.
Love this movie. This movie is really about the love of baseball. It's about the minor leagues, not the major leagues. Kevin Costner plays Crash.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it? It's really good. It's just a well-written movie. It's fun. It's kind of a romance as well. Susan Sarandon, her character is kind of like not a groupie. She goes to all these local games and sleeps with all the players. And any person that she picks to basically sleep with for that season ends up doing really well.
Yeah.
So she kind of just hangs around and she knows everybody. They all know her. And Tim Robbins plays this new pitcher who has like a career. He's going to probably have a future in the major leagues. Kevin Costner is old. He's more of the Tom Berenger type character from Major League. He's kind of like on his last legs. He gets brought in and he plays the catcher as well. Anyways, he has this great scene. Susan Sarandon, he's like not trying to woo her at all. Like she's basically falling for Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
And he's sort of like, you know what? I'm not here. She's like, okay, I'm gonna choose one of you, thinking she has leverage. And he goes, I don't know. And he kind of walks out. He's like, I'm not about this. I'm not here to try and get you to choose me over Tim Robbins' character. And she's kind of like taken with him and the way he speaks and the way he holds himself. And he's like a real man. And he gives this great speech. And the screenwriter and the writer of this movie said the reason why he wrote this speech was to entice an actor like Kevin Costner. Like he wrote that specifically because he's like, if I could show that to somebody would love to deliver this speech. Yeah. And this was I'm going to do it real quick. He says this to Susan Sarandon. He goes, well, I believe in the soul, the cock, the pussy, the small of a woman's back, the hanging curveball, high fiber, good scotch, that the novels of Susan Sontag are self-indulgent, overrated crap. I believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I believe there ought to be a constitutional amendment outlawing AstroTurf and the designated hitter. I believe in the sweet spot, the softcore pornography, opening your presents Christmas morning rather than Christmas Eve. And I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days. The way he delivers this, and she's just like, you could see she's just like speechless after he delivers this. Anyways, I love that whole quote. He gives that whole speech, and that's my honorable mention.
Boom.
Boom.
Nice.
That's a great list. I like that list.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Neil.
That was a lot of movies. Do we have enough time?
We had 3 movies, yeah. Not really.
Not really. So can you just rush through it?
All right. So my first movie is Field of Dreams.
Oh my God, that
Yeah.
might be that's up there. I mean, some people might say Rocky's the top. I would say this is up there though.
this
Field of Dreams.
is above Rocky for me.
Yeah,
It's not
Yeah.
above Rocky.
it's up
That's
there for me.
definitely-
They're very
definitely
different.
up
They're
there.
very
Beautiful
different.
film. It's a beautiful film.
They're
It's
very different. They're very
but it's
different.
Not, it's not above Rocky for me.
Of course not.
And
Yeah,
and a lot of people.
It's an interesting movie because you start out watching this movie, you don't really know where it's going. It's about this guy, and he does in the beginning of the film. There's
Talking
like
corn.
Yeah.
Did you say talking corn?
His field of
It's a
corn to
cornflakes
talk. It's
commercial.
a science fiction film,
Yeah.
actually.
Popcorn. It's for you.
These aliens show up dressed as baseball players. No, yeah, it's really an interesting movie because it does hint at kind of like what the overall story is about. But I guess until the last moment of the film, you don't really know what all of this was for.
You don't know why Kevin Costner's there. Like, why his field? Why him? What's going on? What's he?
He does explain it though. If you watch that movie and you listen to like the opening overture or whatever, he's like this
Narration.
He's just narrate. He's talking about his childhood and growing up and his dad, and then you watch the
His
whole
dad played
2.5
for the
hour
Yankees.
movie.
Yeah.
And you get to like that last like 10 seconds of that movie.
Yeah.
You're like, you understand. It's really a father-son story.
It really is. Oh my God! It literally
It's
just
great.
brings tears to my eyes. I mean,
Yeah.
that whole arc. I mean, I love James Earl Jones' whole arc. Thing
Oh, yeah.
too. His
Oh,
whole
yeah.
speech. Can you do the speech?
I mean, I don't have the screenplay here.
You know why probably I don't like that movie that much, and just you probably
What?
you guys.
You don't like it that much?
you
Let me
don't
say. Let me
like
explain.
it?
No, let me say why. Is because I am. You guys might hate me for this, but I'm just not a big fan of Kevin Costner.
That's weird to me.
You know, I think Kevin.
I understand
I've
where
never
you're
seen
coming
Kevin
from.
Costner.
I like a
really-
lot of his films though.
I do.
Bodyguard.
He has great films.
Dances with Wolves, though?
Dan-
He has
with
great
Wolves.
films. I'll give you Dance. He has great films, but you never see him act like
No, he's
in
not
a
like
broad
a deep.
range.
No, he doesn't have a lot of range.
And
But
I don't think. Yeah,
But he does his job, and he has great movies. Like,
No, he has great films. I've just never been a fan with him because I feel like every
He
film I
reminds me
watch,
of-
he does the same thing.
He's like a Cary Grant, I think.
I can
and
see that,
he
yeah.
doesn't
Yeah, I
like
can see
really take himself like above and beyond.
No,
he's
he's
like
not-
reached
yeah.
a status that's like good enough.
he never does accents. He doesn't
Yeah.
do any.
Yeah.
He doesn't like really transform, but he does
He didn't
his
do an
goddamn
accent
job.
in fucking Robin Hood.
He didn't even do that. He
I
like a
love
British
it.
accent.
I love Robin Hood.
That's so weird.
Prince of
I
Thieves,
never
so-
noticed that as a problem, though. I love
I
that
didn't
movie.
either because I'm American. Like I don't.
Also, it's a good movie.
It's a
That is a
great.
really
I
good
love
movie,
that
yeah.
film. Yeah, but I've just never been a big fan. And I think that's why that movie never resided in me.
But yeah, we should say, Ray Liotta is in this film.
Yeah.
He
plays
plays
Shoeless Joe.
It's James L. Jones plays Terrence Mann. Anyway, it's one of the honorable mentions. Burt Lancaster plays this incredible, smaller character, I guess, but an important part of the film. I don't really want to spoil any of the film if you people haven't seen it, but it's just this incredible film. This guy buys a farm. They move away from the city with his wife and his daughter, and he goes outside one day and he hears this voice,
And it says,
and it says, "If you build it,
he will come.
he will come." And he's like, "All right, well, it's weird or whatever." And then he's like, he goes back in and he's like, "Did you hear it?" And his wife's like, or he tells his wife what happened, and she thinks it's like, okay, or
crazy,
he's hearing things now, whatever. But she like goes with it.
She's a
like,
hippie. She's cool.
Yeah,
she's
she's
really
like, whatever,
supportive.
man. Everyone hears things. No big deal. Like, whatever. They don't want to like. That's what I like about it is like her reaction isn't like, institutionalize my husband or
Yeah.
isn't like immediately like call a doctor
cool.
or something.
She's
She's
cool.
just like chill. She's
Yeah.
like supporting him or whatever. Then she hears it.
Yep.
And then they both have this dream.
Well, she has a dream. She never hears
She
the
has
voice.
a
She
dr-
just
Oh, okay.
she has the same dream as him.
Yeah.
At
He
one
starts
point to go to
describing a
Boston.
dream and
That's
then she has the exact
that's to
same
go to
dream.
Boston and see James Earl Jones.
That's later.
Yeah, he already builds the field before she ever sees anything. She just goes along. She lets him do all this, plow under all that corn,
Yeah.
which is like death to a farm that big. He plows a lot of corn to create an entire baseball diamond in Iowa in the middle of fucking the country. Like nothing.
Apparently,
is
they
gonna come of
actually
this.
it was on when they filmed the movie. It was on two different people's farms that where they built that field. And then after the film, it was so popular after it came out that one of the guys was like, "I want to put my crop back," and the other guy left the half of the field, and then
right.
people would come and pay him money to like come out on the field.
Wow.
And I guess it became.
I would go
this
there.
place where people wanted to come or whatever, and he charged them money, like $1 or something, to like
Smart.
walk out on the field. But then the other guy was like, "What? These people paying money to come on your land?" Like, and so then he like had to tear everything down again that he regrew, and then
Jesus.
yeah.
Well,
And then
I love
put the field back
because the
up.
whole he builds that field and then they're gonna basically they start lose like they're gonna lose money and then
Yeah.
her brother like his brother-in-law
Piece of shit,
and
the
his
whole
his
movie,
company
yeah.
his business are basically trying to come in and basically seize the land
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like forcing them to sell. They're like you're going to go, like you're bankrupt, you're gonna go bankrupt. The bank is gonna seize this. We've gotten with the bank and we said we'll take this from you for a good price, give it to us. But he keeps getting these visions.
We
and
should
now he's-
explain what happens. He builds the field,
Yeah.
and these fucking dead baseball players
Yeah.
show the fuck up and start
We're
playing
trying so
baseball.
hard not to tell you the
we
whole
haven't
movie,
like even
but,
said
like,
the
there's
most
no way.
important part.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why is he fighting so hard to keep this goddamn field? And that's exactly
so these
why.
players from the White Sox from like the
and
20s
they
or
don't
whatever,
even know how they got there or why they're there. They're just there to play ball.
Yeah, and they're in
Like,
their original. They're in their
Original
age and their
uniform.
original uniforms
And it's
from the White
great.
Sox. They're the members of the. I guess they call them the Black Sox. They were the outlawed banned players from the White Sox who were basically found guilty of trying to throw the World Series for betting reasons and everything like that, like for
Yeah.
money. And they were involved in this big scandal, and
Yeah.
they were banned from baseball forever, from the major leagues forever.
Yeah.
And they're now given this opportunity to come back and play the sport that they love.
Yeah.
And they all come out there and like ghosts and they disappear into the cornfield and there's not a lot of explanation of what the fuck's going on.
it's great because the film doesn't explain anything. He's like,
more you
he's like,
explain it.
Ray Liotta says after the first time he comes out, Ray Liotta turns to Kevin Costner. He's
Right.
like, "Is this heaven?" And he's like, "It's Iowa."
Yeah.
And then Ray Liotta, who's the goddamn ghost,
Yeah.
like has no idea how he got there, why he's there, or who's doing any of this.
And
I just love
you
that.
find out who's doing this voice because he keeps getting this voice. Like it keeps coming back after he finally builds the
More
diamond.
things, yeah.
It's like demanding
he's like,
more, and
"There's
then he
more?"
has the dream. And
I'm
there's all
just
this thing.
thinking about the pitch
ease
to
his
this film.
pain. And, oh no,
It's based on a book.
It's
It's
a
based
book.
on a book.
Think
Yeah,
about
Shoeless
it.
Joe.
Cornfield. Dead baseball
Baseball
players
ghosts.
come to life and they play.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
By the way,
But it's like-
the players were banned from baseball.
Yeah, the music is great.
Beautiful.
I love that it's a mixture of like reality and then the fantasy. Like I love that there's like these are real players who really were like blackballed and
They were real
really
people.
did.
Shoeless Joe was a real guy.
Yeah, they were really charged with all these crimes back in the day. Like I love that where it's like blurring the line, you know, between fiction and
By the
reality.
way, just to confirm, the bank never got that field because that field still stands and kids get to play on that field.
But here's what happened. Like, I want to just do this speech real quick.
Where's like Dyer what field? Dyer what? What is it? Dyer Field?
Where they filmed the movie?
Yeah,
it's
Dyer
still there
Field-
today.
It's still there today.
Wow. We're going to Iowa.
Dyer Field, Iowa.
I would totally go.
I'm gonna get in a little fucking
Are you gonna walk out?
little VW van and I'm gonna drive to Iowa. But no, what's great is at the end of this film, they're trying to force this sale, right? And James Earl Jones and the little girl, the little daughter's like, don't sell, they'll come, people will come and they'll pay. And he's like, you know, the brother-in-law's like, what are you talking about? You know, listen to this little girl. Like, Jesus Christ, sell the farm, Ray. I'm trying to protect my sister here. Like, sell this farm. Yeah. And James Earl Jones gives a speech, and I got to just do it real quick.
Yeah,
Let's
dude.
see.
It is a great speech.
It is one of my favorite things ever.
Oh, it's James Earl Jones. Anything he
It's
says
James Earl
is
Jones.
amazing.
So I'm going to see if I can do it justice. He goes, Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it, for it is money they have and peace they lack. And they'll walk out to the bleachers and sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines, where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. It'll be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick they'll have to brush them away from their faces. People will come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that was once good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come. I love that goddamn speech. I don't know what it is about it. Like, I hear that and I'm like, I just want to watch that over and over. And James Earl Jones just to tell me everything's gonna be okay. And you know, the innocence of youth is still there deep inside you. And there's inspiration to be sought in this world.
What fucking speech from James Earl Jones that you do not want to hear?
I know it is his
His
voice.
voice is just
but he
inspiring.
delivers it beautifully, and it's just a monologue, and the music is great, and like everybody's watching, and all the players stop playing just to listen to the speech, and it's fantastic. Anyways,
Yeah, even
film.
when he goes to, you know, to get James Earl Jones is like, you know, thinks he's this psycho dude or whatever. He's like,
oh, you're from the 60s. Go back to the 60s. Peace, love, dope. Now get the hell out of here.
Peace, love, dope. Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, what are you doing? I'm going to beat you with this crowbar.
It's
a great film.
You got to watch it again, Diego. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm not.
If you don't like
it's
it that
not.
much,
It's not the film. It's Kevin Costner. It's
it
just,
can't be.
It
Kevin
is.
Costner
It is
Kevin
interesting. Like Kevin Costner is
Kevin.
great in that movie, but it's funny when I do see the scenes with James Earl Jones and him, you can tell. Like you can see that James Earl Jones is the superior.
You know,
actor.
I don't think that he's.
I see it, and it like
Go
it's a
watch
little,
JFK though. Kevin Costner is
Oh,
a great
he's
actor.
incredible.
That speech. At
I'm
the
not
end-
saying he's
maybe
not a
Have you
great.
seen JFK?
Yes, I've seen.
That thing
You're
at the
taking it
end-
like I'm saying he's a bad
You
actor.
need to shut your goddamn face.
This guy is
No, the end of
everything's
JFK when he's in the
We
courtroom.
don't talk bad about KC.
At the end of KC. I hope his middle name's Frederick. KFC.
KFC.
Anyways, at the end of JFK, when he's giving that whole speech and he's breaking down and getting emotional, and he addresses his dialogue to the camera in that moment, he's a great actor. He may not show a lot of range in films, but you watch that film, you're like, this guy can fucking act.
Yeah.
Are you done?
He's actually seems like a really cool guy.
I'm not
when
saying
you
Kevin
see
Costner
some
is a bad
interviews,
actor. He just doesn't work for me. And
Field
I
of
think
Dreams,
I
though.
think he is not a ranged actor.
I get it. You don't
but I
dream
think
and you
he's
don't have a
good
heart
actor.
or a soul. I get it.
This guy.
I get it.
guy,
I get
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
He has strong feelings.
All right,
I
Kevin
love Field of
Costner.
Dreams.
Hey man,
I don't want anybody else in that
congratulations
film but
on your
Kevin Costner. I think he's perfect in that film.
success. Of course, because the
Yeah,
film
it
is
is
done.
yeah,
It's
I
already
don't
made.
think I'd be able to see it. Like if they tried to remake.
When
it.
they gonna do a
He has
reboot?
a charm and a charisma that works in that film. That's
does.
not easy to just like produced. That's something.
Is Nick
that is a quality.
angry on me?
I'm always angry at you.
He's angry on me
say
about
stupid
this shit.
and I just want to
He's
slap that
angry
taste out
on
of
me
your
on
mouth.
this.
Well, so you like Field of Dreams, you just didn't like Kevin Costner's as much.
I don't think
as
he's
you
seen the
should.
film in a really long time. I'll be honest.
I don't think I
really-
care to see the film.
When was the last time you saw a
I've
film
seen,
for real? And
It's
don't
not
just lie
the
for the
film.
sake of the argument. When was the last time
So
you saw the
first of
film?
all, fuck you.
When was the last
Second
time you
of
saw the
all,
film?
fuck you.
When
Third
was
of
the
all,
last-
I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
So it's not the film.
That's not my
I've
question. My
never
question is, when was
said
the last
it's
time you
been
saw
a
the
long
film?
time.
I mean, Diego,
This is the reason I don't watch Kevin Costner films. Why the fuck am I going to watch that film again?
20 plus years?
Why does it matter?
He's offended
What
that
does it
you
matter?
don't like Field of Dreams,
He
not
really
Kevin
is.
Costner. It's
I'm
just
just
Field of
saying.
Dreams as a movie.
It doesn't
Wait, you
matter.
don't like
It
that,
is a
but he
good
was in
movie.
Oh, no, that was Michael Keaton. Shit. I know.
Yeah, here's
American
the thing.
Assassin.
I'm not a huge fan of Kevin Costner. I'm not
Doesn't
saying he's
matter.
a bad guy. It does matter
I'm
for
not
me.
a fan of a lot of people.
Oh,
I still see movies.
I thought he was a great dad in Man of Steel.
He's a great dad in Man of Steel.
We're,
yeah, he
we're
did
getting sidetracked. We're getting sidetracked.
we're getting sidetracked,
All
but
right.
no,
Go
we
watch
have to.
Field of
I have
Dreams
two
again.
more films.
Okay,
I don't want to.
2-hour podcast.
Go
I don't
watch
want-
Field of
I don't
Dreams.
want to. I'm
I'm
not.
gonna strap you a fucking chair
I
and
don't
make
give
you
a
watch
fuck
it.
what you try to do.
I'm gonna cut off your nuts and shove them down your fucking throat. Major
really-
League
I'm not
callback.
gonna watch
It's
it.
it's a really
It is
incredible
really
film.
good.
You go watch it again and tell me how it was.
It's one of those
I'm
movies
never
like
gonna
I
watch
can
Rocky
rewatch
again.
that movie over and over again, even though it's such an emotional.
How are you gonna
roller
wait?
coaster.
We can't move forward. He's taking it out on Sylvester Stallone now. What the fuck?
Because you're not willing to even be a good person anymore. Okay, let's go on.
Moving on.
How have we been friends this whole time?
Just one more plug. Just say one more line about Field of Dreams. Just say something about it.
Fuck it.
So one more line.
Just no. Just say it's a great film, or just say let's end it on.
Well, I did want to bring up that
He's trying to be a
I
salesperson.
love this movie, and the guy that directed it, the film he directed after this movie is another one. Is one of my like top 10 favorite films of all time. It's called Sneakers
Oh yeah,
with
Oh,
Robert
yeah,
Redford
that's
so
and
good.
Sidney Poitier.
City Poitier.
I
And
love
I just
Robert
wanted an
Redford.
honorable mention.
Favorite
I
Phoenix,
love
same
Robert
director.
Redford.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
And
he
that's
made
great
this
actor.
movie and then made Sneakers. Like, and I would probably include both of these in like.
I
like my
love
top
Robert
10.
Redford. I think
100%.
he's a
I'm
great
with you.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Redford is
Which
a
is
great
weird
actor.
because I feel like this guy hasn't really directed.
He might be
he's
even
only
better than
directed
Kevin
10 movies
Costner.
ever, and two of them, one was Field of Dreams. One was
He might
Sneakers.
even be
awesome.
better than Kevin Costner.
Oh,
I
shut
think.
your face.
Robert Redford.
No, he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, I'm talking about Robert Redford.
Anyway,
I got a tune-out mode
this
for him.
this movie has like I kind of want to like bring up the final scene. Like it's so good, but I don't know if it's gonna be a spoiler. I don't know.
What,
if
Field of
it's-
Dreams?
Yeah.
Just say it.
There's the scene at the end of the film where
James
everything
Earl
is like
Jones.
over.
But James Earl Jones goes into the cornfield and Ray's
Yeah.
not invited. Kevin Costner's not invited. And he's like, that's my corn. You're guest in my corn.
Right? He's like, I did
And then goes,
everything.
he goes, I did everything you told me to do. He goes, but you're not invited, Ray.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of these moments where you're watching the film and you're like, what the fuck? Like you just watch this 2-hour movie. He does all this shit, listens to the voice. And then he realizes that this is a total spoiler. Already, you know,
Do it.
that Ray Liotta is the voice.
Yeah. It was
And
you.
yeah, and so then Kevin Costner's like all whatever pissed off, and they leave, and he's like fine, and then he goes back. He goes into the house.
No, he stays out there. And he doesn't actually.
Oh, he sees his wife.
And
His
he's not
wife's
as pissed
standing
anymore.
there.
James Earl Jones chilled him out a little bit. So he's not as pissed, but he's sort of a little
He
disappointed. but-
understands.
He
Like,
understands.
James Earl Jones is old, and he's like, this is like an opportunity. And he's a writer and all this
And
stuff.
he used to love baseball, and he had lied about that point earlier on that it
Yeah.
actually was part of something that he always wanted. Anyways, it was.
Yeah, he wanted to like
Yeah.
to be a part of the game.
Yeah.
And so then everybody leaves. It's just him and his wife, and then there's a player that's still there, the catcher,
Cleaning
cleaning
up.
up, and
Take
then
off his gear.
he's just staring at he's like the wife notices staring, and the wife sees it, and she's like, and they
He
see
turns
him.
around. And he turns around.
It turns around, and
player.
it's Ray's dad.
Yeah.
Like as the ghost. Like his dad had died when he was young. and-
Younger than even before he was born. He's like, I'm not even a glint in his eye. It's
Yeah.
him when he was still.
No, I
a player.
thought they had an argument when he was like a teenager, and then he left, and then he died before he came back.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
like,
no,
reconciled.
that,
he never
that's
reconciled
the history.
with his dad.
No,
He
but
had
the,
this
but the
horrible-
version of his dad standing there is the version.
Oh, it was
before
younger. Yeah.
He says, I'm not even a glint in his eye right now. Like this, he's got his whole life ahead of him. He's looking at a younger version of his dad before
It's like
he was even
it's
alive.
Interstellar. Is
Yes,
what it is.
yeah, exactly.
It's Matthew McConaughey and
Yeah.
his daughter.
Yeah.
But- so he
And
turns
so he
around.
goes over to the walks over to his dad or whatever, and he says,
His dad walks over to him. Yeah.
his dad walks over to him.
He
and
goes,
he's
"Thank
like-
you for allowing us to play on this field."
Yeah, and he's like, and then whatever they exchange, words or whatever. I don't remember what they say.
He
but then
introduces him to his granddaughter, who he never met.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and haven't acknowledged that they're.
I know, this is the best scene in the
whole movie.
We're talking about. I know. We'll rush through the rest of them, but we have to give this its due.
And then he turns around like
They haven't acknowledged that they're father and son yet.
They haven't, and but you both know.
Yeah.
Like the audience knows that they each know, but neither of them acknowledge this. And then so the dad starts to like walk away, and then Kevin Costner says, "Hey, Dad,
he goes,
you
"Hey,
want to
Dad."
play a catch?" Or
He goes, "Hey, Dad,
You wanna have a catch?
He turns around and he goes, "You want to have a catch?" And they're both like on the verge of fucking tears.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'd like that."
yeah,
And then they start having a
and
catch.
they start doing it, so
And
crazy.
he never even had a catch with his dad. Like his whole
Yeah.
thing, he's like father and son are having a catch, and then the camera kind of pulls out and
love
zooms
it.
out and goes to an aerial shot, and there's cars
Yeah.
literally lined for like a state away coming
Yeah.
to the baseball diamond because people will come, Ray,
Right.
and they're here to pay, and it's just beautiful. It's
It's
really
beautiful.
great.
It's so good.
All right, now
That's
just
so good.
I remember
name
when
the
I
other
watched
two
that
films
20
and don't
minutes.
talk
Every
about
time I watch that movie, I'm just
Yeah.
like get choked up at that scene.
I know.
Yeah.
So why don't we just name the other two films and like say a couple sentences about them, and then
I mean, the other two films, I feel like you guys have seen one of them. The other one you've never even seen.
yeah. So that's why the red whatever. Do that one. Just like give a few.
Okay, so well, there's a film that came out called Red Belt, starring I can never pronounce his
Chiwetel
name.
Ejiofor.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. Yeah. Anyway, it's a really great film. It's if you haven't seen it, I don't know if it was an indie film or it came out, it just didn't get like wide release or something like that. I don't know how I came across it, but he basically plays this martial artist, and it's actually in many ways it's similar in a way kind of to Rocky. He's like a teacher at a martial. He has his own dojo where he teaches students, and he refuses to fight in competitions because he feels like it weakens the fighter. And so he ends up like basically teaching people like self-defense and stuff like that. And he ends up in this situation where he is going to fight. Like ends up in it where he's going to fight someone in a competition, basically. And he finds out that a lot of these competitions are like rigged, where people are being like paid off on like to like throw a fight or whatever. And he ends up there's this whole anyway. It's basically this drama that kind of builds to this incredible fight sequence at the end that because of this person's convictions and because of like this world that he ends up getting tied, he ends up like helping a celebrity who's like getting mugged or something and then gets pulled into Hollywood and they kind of want to Hollywoodize him and he has all these morals and they're trying to get him to like corrupt his morals. And so he ends up in a situation where there's like this huge fight sequence where he's like not potentially fighting like this guy, but he's like this opponent, but he's anyway. I don't want to spoil it. I feel like it's a spoiler because neither of you guys have seen it, but it's really good. It reminded I was gonna say my second movie. I feel like I'm rushing through these.
No, that's fine. Well, that one's good because we haven't really we haven't seen it, so that's a good pitch for it. We'll go see it.
But it's Red Belt. It was directed by David Mamet. He's done a couple other movies. But anyway, that's Red Belt.
Okay, Red Belt.
And my other film was Warrior.
Oh yeah,
which you both have seen with Tom Hardy and
Joel Egerton.
Joel Egerton,
Yeah.
Fantastic movie.
Fucking film was incredible.
Fantastic movie.
Yep.
I love that film. Tom Hardy was so.
This is
incredible.
maybe the first movie that Tom Hardy really. I noticed him. It was either this or. Well, I remember him in Inception, but I remember this going, holy shit.
Yeah.
And this was, I think, the same year or like a year before he did Dark Knight Rises. So, but this was, I remember going, holy shit.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy was he was built like a brick shithouse in this movie.
Yeah, but it's interesting because Joel Egerton, like they end up fighting, but like you wouldn't think that they like one would be significantly bigger than the other, but like they were kind of like comparable.
Joel was taller.
I feel like is Tom Hardy like a short guy?
I don't know. He seems short in the movie. He seems really
he's like
stocky.
5'something".
He seems really stocky in this movie. I think he is shorter because Joel is taller and you could see that.
Yeah.
But it is really good. They play brothers.
Yeah, Nick Nolte's in it.
Yep.
He plays
Nick
the
Nolte
dad.
was incredible in it.
Yeah, he got nominated for an Oscar actually for this
Warrior?
movie.
Wow.
Yeah, for Best Supporting Actor. Yeah.
I don't care what you do.
Oh, I love the way
Nick Nolte's great. He's
awesome, man.
Great.
I'm not your buddy.
Anyway, yeah, it's like these two estranged brothers who basically their career paths kind of like their father tries to get both of them into fighting or to like the MMA stuff and. He chooses one over the other.
Yeah.
And
He
it
chooses
creates
Joel over Tommy, doesn't he?
Just hatred.
Yeah. It creates this
Joel
like
over
this
Tommy, yeah.
I forget.
Chooses
think-
Brandon Over Tommy.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton.
And it creates this
over
hatred
Tom
between
Hardy.
the two,
Yes.
and they both kind of go their separate career paths, and at the end of the film they collide, where they are both chosen to fight each other, and they're brothers, and people don't know that they're brothers.
They don't. No.
Yeah,
but
'cause
Tom Hardy just comes out of nowhere kind of and just starts fucking beating all these people and just making it up the ranks.
Yeah.
And he's
He's a monster.
He's
a
a monster.
fucking
He's like
monster.
a hardened. I think he was in the military or whatever. He's a hardened guy. Joel is kind of like just I think he's a family man.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
But Tom Hardy is like, you can tell he had the tortured life.
Yeah.
And he's coming through with a goddamn chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he's ready to, like, he doesn't care. He's willing to fight his brother and break him. Like, he doesn't give a shit.
And it's
there's violent. It's MMA.
Yeah, and it's like this insane fight at the end where they're just like destroying each other.
Yeah.
And it's like they're taking out like their whole
Right.
childhood
Yeah.
hatred on each other physically.
Yeah.
And it's it's just these great moments. There's this moment early before the fight where they kind of like encounter each other on the beach and they're or like on the boardwalk or something, and they're having this conversation, and it's like the first time they've seen each other in years or something.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's
There's
just
like no sympathy or empathy from Tom Hardy at all in that scene. Like, he's just
yeah. It's just this really, and it's like like any of those films that deal with like family drama. It's like everyone on some level can relate.
Yep.
If you're a single child, if you have siblings, you can just always relate to these like rivalries that end up sometimes creeping up. But anyway, it's a fantastic film, and I thought all three, Nick Nolte, Joel Edgerton, and Tom Hardy were all incredible in it, and it made me like want to see films that those. I mean, Nick
Guys
Nolte,
were in.
Nick Nolte I already liked before
Yeah.
that, but Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy, like made me want to be like pay attention to their upcoming films, because I was like, holy shit, those guys fucking like nailed it.
Oh
in
yeah,
that movie.
they did. They absolutely that movie for both those actors. I was like, I'll watch them in anything.
Yeah.
I think they were great.
I feel like you brought this up in a previous podcast. This film for
I did.
another list.
I
that we
love
did
this
on
film.
something.
Yeah, I love this film.
I'm not sure you ever
I don't
brought
think
it
I
up
put it
on
in
the
a
list,
list,
we
but I
did
brought
talk
it up
about
before.
Yeah,
we
we
did
talked
talk
about
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
It's just these. I mean, you talk about deep characters in a
Yeah.
film. I mean, from Nick Nolte to Tom Hardy, it's just like this film is such a family struggle from past to now, and people just not feeling Tom Hardy not feeling accepted, and showing that he was good enough. And trying to fight all the way through,
himself.
especially the fucking last fight where
Oh,
he
it's so
breaks his
good.
arm and he's still so angry. He's not feeling the pain. He's just sitting there trying to fight
really
his
wanna watch
brother.
this again.
This fucking movie, it just takes you through like this emotional roller coaster of one brother trying to reunite his family, which is Brandon.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton.
Joe Edgerton, and then you got Tom Hardy, who just wants to destroy it, hates it. He just, like the beginning scene, he's at his fucking father's house just to fight him.
Yeah.
Just to fucking fight him. He's sitting there at the porch. He's just there just to fucking argue with his dad. That's how much hatred he has. And that scene where his dad Nick Nolte just goes off, is just fucking incredible. And then, I mean, just to see that beach scene,
Yeah.
when you see like the beach scene, it's incredible
Like that
for me
hoodie on
because
the whole time.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
looks so menacing in that.
Yeah.
because if you look at that scene, here's what made that whole dialogue incredible is that you got Brandon looking straight at Tommy.
Yeah.
He's always facing straight at Tommy. And if you look at how Tom Hardy's standing the whole time, he's turned away, looking down, like he's ready to walk away.
Yeah.
Like the whole time.
body language.
And the body language made such a statement in this film. It's just so it was done so well. It's so perfectly
I haven't seen it
done.
in a few years now, but I want to watch it.
I
now.
watched it so many times, like I remember almost every scene.
It has a very gritty nature to the way it was filmed. Like it
does.
feels almost like a documentary in a way.
Yeah.
It
Like
does.
that kind of
yeah.
hand cam stuff. It reminds me of like The Wrestler and like
Yeah.
The Fighter. Those two
Yeah.
films. It has a similar.
Especially The Wrestler, yeah.
It's almost not even a sports film, but a family struggle, rugged film.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's
because
to me.
the fight part of it was totally secondary
Yeah.
to everything else that happens. So
Yeah, what's interesting to me is like the what makes a great sports film is like being able to take the sport, right? Just that whole the competitive nature of whatever the sport is or whatever you're playing, and then taking the human element, taking like the families that are affected and the people that are affected and how it like takes a toll on the player.
Right.
And like the stakes and like, the winners and the losers. And it's like, it's a game. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what people want to see. They want to see somebody play the game, play it well, and you know, have high stakes. You know, like that's why Rocky is so successful, and that's why Rocky, like, even though it's boxing, and not everyone's a boxer, everyone can relate to feeling like an underdog and
it's true.
building themselves up and all that.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good list. Good
Yeah.
list. I'm glad we gave most of the time to Field of Dreams, though, because Field of Dreams is really good.
That's true, yeah.
We spent a lot of time on Field of Dreams.
You should see
I
Red
just
Belt.
want to pitch Field of Dreams. I just want to pitch Field of Dreams.
We'll talk about Red Belt.
Nick's not looking at me right now because he knows he's trying to set something up. This motherfucker's trying to set something.
Oh, yeah. I'll watch Red Belt.
I just want to pitch Field of Dreams.
In like 3 years when Nick watches it.
Come on.
How long did it take you to watch?
I'll watch Red Belt when he watches Field of Dreams again.
Oh, don't even set that up because then you ain't ever gonna watch Red Belt.
How long did it take you to watch fucking oh god damn it.
Arrival?
With Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah. Shit, what is that movie called? Fragile.
Fragility.
How about this? Fuck that.
Frailty.
Fuck that.
Fragility. Is that a
Fuck
word?
that. How about
so.
Frailty.
Yeah,
And
Frailty.
you loved it.
It was great.
Yeah, he
Great
directed
film.
that.
How about this? How about you fucking give me back my Blu-ray because you ain't ever gonna
I
watch
got-
Arrival,
I got
motherfucker.
10 minutes into it. I got 10 minutes into it.
Fucking
I haven't had a chance. I've been
He
reading.
watched Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and you haven't watched Arrival.
First off, he should have seen that immediately. Also, here's the thing.
You should have watched Arrival immediately.
Here's the thing. I've been reading a lot more recently.
Oh, you read?
So I have been reading again. Yeah. You guys haven't. You don't.
Dude,
read.
it's a 2-hour movie. It's from like your boy who did
I know Dennis
Blade
Villeneuve.
Runner.
He's doing Dune, by the way.
2049. Yeah,
He
he's
just
doing a
announced they're
Dune
gonna be doing
movie.
two
Two
Dune
movies,
Yeah,
yeah.
two. Yeah.
I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I'll watch Arrival very
I can't
soon.
believe you haven't watched it.
I'm very
It's
close to it.
It's really good.
I've been watching
It's
a
really
classic
good.
movie a day. By the way, I just watched the original Dracula Nosferatu. I watched The Wild Bunch. I watched Once Upon a Time in the West. I've been watching classic films recently, like almost every day.
You should go into the spaghetti westerns. There's some really good.
No,
ones.
I have. Yeah, I have. I have almost all Sergio Leone's films, which is what Once Upon a Time in the West is.
Oh, yeah,
Sergio
yeah.
Leone. I've watched all the Dollars trilogies and Clint Eastwood. I have most of them.
Have you watched The Man Who Smiled a Lot?
Man Who Smiled a Lot? No, is that the one that Joker's based
Yeah,
off of? No, I
it's
wanted
really-
to see that.
you
Yeah,
need
I
to
watched
see that.
Metropolis recently.
Did you?
Was that 1920 or
Yeah, the
27
sci-fi, yeah.
sci-fi
Beautiful
German film. Yeah, that's on Netflix still. And
That's-
so I finally watched that whole thing.
Yeah.
I've watched a bunch of Charlie Chaplin films recently. Like I've
It's
just been
hard.
trying to.
I tried to find like older films on Netflix, and it's hard. Like
Yeah.
they don't have like a category like
They have a classics. They do. No,
they?
they do.
They do,
Yeah.
yeah.
You just have to just go to class. They have a whole
You have to like
classics.
sub.
No.
search the word classics.
No. You
because
know
on
where
mine-
they
But-
list categories and genres like action, adventure, all that stuff. They have a classics.
Yeah,
thing
but
in
then
there.
they'll have movies from like the 70s and 80s. I want movies
No,
from
they
like
have
the
ones-
30s and 40s.
Yeah, it's not a very big list, but on that classics one. But
Let me end this podcast just by saying this. You motherfucker who stole my motherfucking Netflix account. So my Netflix account got hacked into. I didn't really, yeah, it did. So I didn't really give a fuck. You
Like
know,
some
it's like
Italian
somebody
guy.
else was, some Italian guy was fucking, because every time
That's
I got
amazing,
on,
actually.
the fucking dialogue.
This Italian
It
guy?
wasn't
No,
me.
no.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
fucking-
me.
Was it Mario
So-
over here?
It's Mario.
Yeah, this
It's
guy,
Luigi.
like,
That's so
every time I
racist.
watched,
That's
hold
so
on,
racist.
every time I fucking watched something, I would start up Netflix.
Yeah.
It was fucking in Italian. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So my wife talked, somebody, and I really didn't give a fuck. I was like, somebody
He's
just
being
trying to
charitable.
watch.
He was
sometimes.
letting
so
him
I
do
was,
it.
I was like, okay, whatever, just
He
watch
must have
it.
had like a similar
So-
username and a similar password and
What-
just mistyped both and then had
What,
yours.
so I've had my Netflix
You gotta-
account
that has to
since
happen.
I had my Netflix account since it fucking like was the DVD and everything. Like I've never since they were like
Same
year
password.
one,
Yeah.
right? And not even same password. I changed the passwords, but just it was under me.
Same account.
Yeah, same account. And this fucking thing. And then he fucking changed the password and
locked him out of his
locked
own
me out
account.
of my account. I was like, dude, I was being
how did
charitable.
he change the password?
I
Because
have
he
no
had
clue.
access to
Yeah.
it.
But I thought they have to send you a confirmation email to your email address.
I have no clue. Hackers these days can do any fucking thing.
Maybe that's
I'm
maybe
not-
that's-
I'm
they probably
honestly-
had access to his email, and that's how they got the access.
I'm
to the
honestly
thing to begin with.
not surprised at all. So he did that, and I was like, "Fuck you, dude." So I went in, and the sad thing is that the secure way to do it was to change the email on my account, and so I put it under my wife's email.
You know, you should have
account.
done. You should have just changed the password from your normal Boner Boy 69 to a less racy title. It's
No, it was Nick is a bitch, but then I switched it to.
Oh, Nick is a bitch.
Did you just go like to the last?
I don't
call
know.
on the
I had
book?
nothing. I had no comeback.
Did
I
you
was
just
like,
go playground? Your mama.
butthead?
Whatever. All right, no, guys, I love your list. I think
Yeah,
every
good
movie
list.
on that list was incredible, and I gotta watch some of these.
All right,
films.
recount them real quick.
So-
Rocky,
Rocky Balboa.
No, Rocky. You're
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rocky.
Just go ahead and recount.
Yours was Rocky.
Rocky, $1 Million Baby.
$1
Million Dollar
Baby.
Baby.
And then also Dream.
Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man. I was going to dream.
Right. Mine was.
Sorry, I'm like, I have 50 like boxing
fine.
milfs in
So
front of me.
Rocky, $1 Million Baby, Cinderella Man. Mine was Major League, White Man Can't Jump, Jerry Maguire, and honorable mention was
Yes.
Bull Durham. Yours was Field of Dreams,
Field of Dreams,
Red Belt,
and
Warrior.
Perfect. I would put him in Field of Dreams, Warrior, Red Belt
As like
order.
a sequence, yeah.
I would skip Field of Dream. But anyhow. No.
I'm gonna cut your mic. If you say that.
How you? I got the controllers.
I will say my honorable mention will be Mighty Ducks.
Mighty
Oh,
Ducks.
good call.
I love that.
Somebody's gonna be freaked out that we never mentioned Mighty Ducks in this.
I love that movie.
Great film.
I don't know.
Good
I'm,
movie.
I'm pretty
Great
sure you guys have also.
Oh yeah.
loved
I
this
love that movie. We saw it in theaters.
That is an
In
incredible
times-
movie.
Great
yeah,
film.
it's a good movie. I love that movie.
Mighty Ducks 2 was also pretty good.
Yeah, Mighty Ducks 3 wasn't terrible either. Wasn't terrible. I'm just saying it wasn't terrible.
It's
Is
like
that-
Three
that
Ninjas
was-
3.
First one is better
It's
than
like
all
Three
of them.
Ninjas
First
3.
one's
Come
better
on.
than all of them though.
The second one was good. Though.
Three Ninjas 3.
Second one was
Was
good.
that High Mountain or was that High Noon at something mountain or was that Kickback?
I think Kickback was the second one. Three Ninjas Kickback was the
And
second
then like the
one.
third one was like with Hulk Hogan. It was like High Noon at
Was
something.
Hulk- I thought he was in the fourth one.
Something mountain. Maybe it's the
Or the-
fourth one. I don't know. I only remember the first one.
I love Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas. Yeah. All
I
right.
feel like if I rewatched that, I would not like it.
Probably not. I've watched it in the last 10 years and it did not hold up.
It
Very
didn't
well.
hold on.
All right.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us at this. What do you want to call it?
Sports. Our favorite sports
Our
films.
favorite
our top
sports-
sports films are why
Favorite
Field of
sports.
Dreams is better than Rocky or whatever. We'll title it whatever we want.
I feel like Field of Dreams
I just wanted to-
would be like in the top or like, you know.
It's a topper.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that.
like-
Just
I don't
not
actually
fucking-
feel that. I'm just really pissed off that you're not willing to give Field of Dreams another chance because of your you're fucking biased. Like it just seems.
I'm not
so
being
stupid.
biased. How am I? It's just not the film that I like.
Because you're a fucking racist. Okay, whatever. Let's go on.
Oh my fucking race!
Goddamn fascists!
Where's this guy?
You commie. I'm gonna report you.
When was the last time you watched it?
Long time.
20
ago.
some odd years
Long
ago.
time
If you've
ago.
seen it at all.
I had a similar thing because I watched it like in the 90s or something, and then I rewatched it 2 years ago, and I've watched it like 5 or 6 times since then.
You really-
and
You
I'm
guys
like,
are stuck on the
wow,
film.
Like I just completely
It's not
forgot
the
how
film.
incredible. Maybe
It
now, maybe
really
as a
is good.
kid it didn't impinge as much, but as an adult it impinges a lot more.
It's not
like
the
it's
film.
more relatable as an adult.
It's
I
not
think.
the film. It's just Kevin Costner.
should rewatch
I'm not
it.
a big fan. of
Doesn't
Kevin
matter,
Costner.
dude.
But
You
just
can
give it a
does
try.
matter.
You
It's
watch
2
movies
hours
that
and
the
20
people you
minutes of
don't
your
like.
How
life.
about this? I'll watch what the fuck I want. How about we just?
I'm gonna steal your password to Netflix again. All right, let's go.
Fucking it out. No, all right. So, all right, guys. Thank you for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with number 2. I'm Tiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.